Hey there, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Ask Jimmy Smith. Today, I am excited to be talking to you about how over the last 6 years, I have consistently been able to outperform the stock market yearly return rate. And so it's pretty crazy to think back on whenever I started in doing this model, that it's ultimately allowed me to grow in such a different way with my money. And it also allowed me to think differently with the way that I spend my money and what I put it into. And so in this video, I'm going to go through a few different things. One, I'm going to go through the returns on the stock market averages over the last few years. I'm also going to go through the returns of our business that anyone can do. You can start with $100. You can probably start for free with stuff around your house. Actually, I've seen plenty of people do that. I'm also going to discuss the 5 ways to get started in this business. And then lastly, I'm going to give you a resource that you can go to check out hundreds of other success stories. It's not just me, right? This is something where I've seen hundreds of other people do the same thing. And if you follow the methods that I'm going to lay out here and you listen to it, you can also outperform the stock market by 2 to 3 times, by the way. It's not just little amounts. It's 2 to 3 times outperforming the stock market each year since 2016. So let's go ahead and get into this article from CNBC, going through this year's S&P 500 and the results from it. So you can see in this article that the S&P 500 for 2021 is up 27.2%, which is incredible. I mean, that's a huge return. There's obviously a lot of money that could have been made throughout the year if you had left your money just in the S&P 500. If you're putting in $1,000, you're going to make $272 if you had done that at the beginning of the year and held it throughout the year. Also, the Dow and the NASDAQ are headed for a 3-year winning streak, and they've gained 19.1% and 21.8% respectively. So the S&P did the best, but the Dow and NASDAQ also did well. Getting a 20 to 30% in the stock market is something that's an amazing feat to see. And I have seen plenty of reports talking about how 2022 will be much different, but that's all speculation, obviously. So we'll see how that goes. But I did want to show you what the S&P 500, according to macrotrends.net, has done over the last 6 years since 2016. So actually, I'll show you. In 2015, it lost a little bit of money too, but we didn't really start our business until 2016. We started December of 2015, so I'm not going to count that. But in 2016, there's a 9.54% change. It grew that much. 2017, 19.4%. 2018, 6.24% loss. 2019, a 28.88, 2020, 16.26, and 2021, 27.23% gain. So it has grown quite a bit, which is pretty cool to see over the last 3 years that there's been that much growth from a stock market perspective. But let me just read to you the percentage growth that we've had on the money that we've placed into our businesses, this main business model. We've got multiple ones, but this main business model, we've got 100% growth. We've got a 59% growth, a 95%, a 60%, a 75%, and a 68% growth over the last 6 years. So you can tell in the best year in 2019, if I compare that with our worst year, we're still over double. And our worst year was a 59% growth on our money. So every $100, we made $59 of profit on top of that. Well, that is still over double, because double of this would be just over 57, 58%. So in our worst year, and the S&P percentage change is best year in that 6-year period, we have doubled or more. And obviously we had some that were 100%. So for every $100 we spent, we made $100 back on profit on top of it. So pretty amazing. And if you really look at the worst year where you're losing money, it's a really, really good rate to take a look at the business. Now, the reason that I'm telling you about this is because ultimately I've seen that hundreds of other people have had success with this model through the things that I've taught in my book and in my course. And if you just want to see those success stories, you don't have to pay for anything. You don't have to give me your email address, nothing. You can go and see the hundreds of success stories at AskJimmySmith.com/success. And you can see the hundreds of different testimonials that have been posted freely. I didn't ask for these things. Everybody that's just been so excited to post their results. Now, obviously the results, I have to say this, right? Lawyer type thing. Results are not typical. They may vary. All of that is true, right? If you don't follow the methods exactly, if you don't take the opportunity to grow properly and have the right mindset with this model, then it won't work for you. But this is something that has worked for hundreds, and I believe it's over 1,000 testimonials now between all the different places that I manage. And so it's pretty cool to see that much success in this model. So let's get into it. First and foremost, what is that first tip before we get to all five? So the first tip is that you need to start an Amazon FBA business. Now, I know that there's a lot more to it than that, but this is the model I'm talking about, is an Amazon FBA business. Now, if you take a look on YouTube, you'll hear and see a lot of different videos about, is Amazon FBA dead? Or, there's too much competition on Amazon FBA, or do drop shipping, or I don't know, anything else. Do a Shopify store, do Etsy, do Poshmark, do Mercari. But I'm willing to bet that those other content creators have not seen hundreds to over 1,000 success stories come from their content. They have probably seen some great success, but I've seen and consistently have seen success come from this Amazon FBA model. And so there are multiple different models. So step number two, or tip number two, I guess, in this video, is to not start with private label or wholesale. Now, those are both great models, and I'm going to do more videos covering the details of those models. But first and foremost, if we're talking about private label, if you do follow a lot of different Amazon FBA influencers, you'll see many of them discuss private label and why it's so great. And there are pros and cons to every method of selling on Amazon. But the cons, in my opinion, far outweigh the pros if you are brand new trying to start an Amazon business. And the reason is because you don't know how the platform works. You don't know how FBA works. You don't even fully know how products rank and how they're selling. You don't know where to buy products. You don't know so many different things whenever you're starting out on Amazon FBA. And ultimately, the private label model, if you're starting with that first, is the riskiest model out of all of them, especially if you're buying $1,000 of product from overseas, or you're using even a local manufacturer that has to make a mold for your product, and that mold costs $5,000 to $10,000. Or you're trying to get into supplements because you hear that supplements do really well, but you don't think about the liability implications from that. So there's so many different aspects that go into private label that are dangerous to start from an Amazon FBA standpoint. Now, we do private label products because we've grown our business to be able to do that and handle what it is that we wanted to start. But it's still something that I don't believe a new seller should start with, because I've seen more horror stories than I've seen success stories. And with the model that I teach, and I'll get to here in a second, I've seen way more success stories come out of that group than I have seen any negative stories come out of it. While not everyone's successful, you rarely hear somebody saying, I lost thousands of dollars doing this method. And so it's pretty cool to see that. Naturally, you have to follow the training and buy products properly. But if you do that, I'm fairly confident in how you'll at least be safe placing your money, in that area. Now, the reason why I don't suggest starting with wholesale, while to me that is kind of my, I think the future of where you should be going naturally as a seller on Amazon, because there's so many brands that are established that need help. There's a lot of different things that you can do to add value to their business. But I think that it's a lot more difficult from a new seller perspective as well. Again, you don't know the platform. You don't know how to work with a brand and help them with their A+ and brand registry content. You have to deal with calling other distributors and manufacturers and brands and trying to sell them on you doing the service versus somebody else. And it's very, it can be risky as well if you have to buy thousands of dollars of product and don't know what you're doing or what you're looking for. And so that's the reason that in tip number 2, don't recommend starting with private label or wholesale. But for tip number 3, I recommend starting in the replens arbitrage business. And for those of you that don't know, arbitrage is essentially buying something from either a local store or an online store or even a big national store like Walmart or Target, buying it from there and selling it on Amazon or another marketplace at a higher price. And so many of the items that we're buying are costing us $5 and we'll sell it for $14, $15 on Amazon. Amazon gets their fees, and we usually make an average of 70% return on our investment. Some products we lose money on, some products we break even on, but many of them we have done very well, as you could tell from our numbers, in growing our capital that way. And so following the arbitrage model, what we've been able to do and teach is to ultimately help sellers get started with the replenishable model. And it's something where instead of going out to stores or garage sales and looking for clearance products or cheap products and flipping it on Amazon or some other marketplace, you're going and looking for full price products on the shelf, and you're able to find either 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 packs of those products on Amazon, and you're able to sell it for much more money. You can also find individual units as well and sell it for more money, but you have to be able to do it properly. And so in tip number 4, I recommend, and through the replens model and the things I teach, I recommend learning Keepa. And I'm going to show you really quick what Keepa looks like so you can get a feel for it and why it's so important. This is typically, you can start Amazon replens arbitrage for free. You can use their Amazon seller app. It doesn't cost any extra money. If you're doing FBA, you have to pay $40 a month for their service, but they fulfill and all of your products and handle all of your customer service. So it's beautiful, but you get a free sourcing app with that I recommend using. And I still use that to this day, but I also recommend starting with Keepa.com. And so you can see it on the screen right now that this is what Keepa looks like. It's an extension that pulls up on any Amazon product page. And I just picked a random peanut butter here that would have a good Keepa chart to look at. And essentially, you're looking for 3 things. The first and foremost, that these green lines are going up and down regularly. That means a product is selling regularly. That's what these green lines are for the sales rank. If I highlight over it, pulls up the sales rank. The second thing you're looking for is this buy box. And typically you want to see if the buy box is at a fairly steady price. And it seems to stay around this $14 and up price. So as long as you can make money at $14, that's a pretty good bet that if you send it in at 17 and it drops back down to 14, that you'll probably still do all right if it's a profitable product. And then lastly, you're looking here at this bottom box. These are the count of the sellers, the new offers. And so if there's fluctuation in the sellers, that means that sellers are most likely selling out as they start to drop off. And if they're coming back on, then they aren't selling out yet. And there's more sellers coming on than is selling out. So to me, this Keepa chart looks like an excellent one. It's a fairly stable product. It sells regularly. The sellers aren't crazy getting added on and going straight up and to the right. It seems like a fairly safe product if it's profitable. And I don't know, I just picked a random one. So that's why you need to learn Keepa, because it can give you a very good test for whether or not something is going to be profitable for you. You know, it's what I rely my business on. So you can get started. You can build this business to tens of thousands of dollars a month if you follow the right processes and you use Keepa and you pay for your Amazon FBA subscription. So you can do that for $40 for Amazon FBA and $17 for Keepa, $57 a month. That's not too bad, plus your other costs to send everything in. But obviously there's more detail that goes into this, but this is the one thing you want to be able to learn after you do the first few steps. So that was tip number 4. Now in tip number 5, I suggest rolling the money back in. So if you started with $100, you start with $1,000, whatever it is, whether you put it into a stock market or you put it into cryptocurrency or into anything else that you're starting, you don't want to start taking out your profits right away as you place it in there. You want to roll it back in and continue to invest more in something that is making you money. So in this case, with an Amazon FBA replens business, if you put $1,000 in and you got $1,500 that returned to you, as an example, right? Well, I recommend putting all $1,500 back in. So only start the business with the amount of money that you're willing to risk, essentially, right? And that's the same way you have to think about it with stocks or crypto or any other investment. Whatever you're willing to risk, that's what you want to start with, and then continue to roll that back over so that you don't have to rely on the income from your business, so that you can continue to grow and scale and get more products. And eventually you'll get to the place where you feel comfortable taking a salary or hiring employees or whatever it is in your business. So for ours, we started that way. I believe we started with $1,000 of inventory, and we've been rolling that back in pretty much for the last 6 years. And we've got 8 employees and over 7 figures a year in revenue doing this model. So it's pretty impressive to see what you can do whenever you do roll the money back in. So if you've got $100, don't start it out on a credit card and get $1,000 of stuff. Start it out in a smart manner, only what you're willing to risk. If you've got $0 and you can only afford maybe getting the FBA subscription and Keepa, that you got $57, approximately $60 to get started, you can start that and take a look at products around your house. You can sell them on Craigslist. You can sell them on eBay. And then from there, take those funds and buy product on Amazon or for the Amazon.com platform. And so the next tip that I have for you, I'll call it a bonus one, because I'm pretty sure I said 5 tips whenever I started making this video. So this is tip number 6, is to join a free Facebook group that has other sellers with over 1,000 success stories in it. This is called the My Silent Team Facebook group, and you can use my link. It's bit.ly/M as in Mary, S as in Smith, T as in time, MST group. And I'll put the link in the description as well for you. So it's bit.ly/MST group. And that is a free Facebook group. You don't have to pay anything. I don't even believe that you have to put any kind of, an email, get on any email list or anything like that. I don't think so. It's been six years since I signed up for it, but either way, that group was tremendously helpful for me. I'm in there as a leader of the community as well. And you can see all the different success stories. You can ask questions for free. It's really the most successful Amazon FBA group that I've ever seen. And so I really highly recommend joining that group at bit.ly/MST group. And it's just easier for me to give you that link so you can find the Facebook group that way. So hopefully that's helpful for you. It's been a tremendous ride for us over the last 6 years. We're continuing to focus and double down on our replens and add in other methods and streams of income. So I hope that this was helpful for you and eye-opening, that you can see that if you had followed, and instead of putting all your money into those stock market exchanges or indexes over the last 5-6 years, if you had put it into an Amazon business spread across a lot of different products, you would have made a lot more money doing that if you had purchased properly. So head over to my website at AskJimmySmith.com to find out any more information about my book, Side Hustle to Full-Time Income, or the course as well, where we've had so much success come from that. And if you want to see the success stories, you can either join that Facebook group. You can see a lot there, or you can go to AskJimmySmith.com/success to see how many people have really crushed it utilizing this model. So please like, share, subscribe, comment on this. Let me know your thoughts on this video. Have you done anything else that has outperformed the stock market over the last 5 or 6 years consistently? What other methods do you think that I should review on this channel in addition to the Amazon FBA businesses? There's so much opportunity out there. As it's always said, there's a million ways to make $1 million, right? And so I highly recommend checking out the Amazon replens model that we've seen so much success from. But either way, whatever you decide to do, just wholeheartedly go after it, and you'll more than likely see success from any method that you go after fully and that you learn a lot about. So I highly recommend doing that, and be willing to take a little bit of risk here and there. Luckily, this is the lowest risk model out there, considering you can test, $100 worth of product and see if it works for you. If it doesn't, well, then you can stop, right? Then it was $100. It's not much of a loss there, but hopefully you'll see some success and continue to roll that money into more inventory. So thanks again. I appreciate you liking and subscribing, sharing this video, and commenting. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this video. Hope that you all have a blessed day. Thank you.